Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So the cryptocurrency market has had a busy week with a multitude of economic news events coming to a close and Bitcoin still in its short-term downtrend. Should we be concerned about the current trend and what are its macro implications? Will Bitcoin finally flip bullish, taking altcoins along, or is this the start of a long bearish road? Let's dive into the charts today to talk about all the recent price action, the macro charts, and more. Before we do though, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel down below to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday and Saturday, and ring the notification button so you never miss an episode. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out the free Telegram channel over here where you can get daily Bitcoin updates as well as crypto and economic news. If you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trade setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving right into the charts here, we're on a 12-hour time frame. A lot has happened in the last week alone. So price action wise, we've only moved about 5%, right? From Sunday to today at 64,200, we've only dropped about 5.5%. But aside from the actual percentage as well, the key levels that we were sitting at before have now been lost. So over the week, we did end up confirming the loss of $67,000, which was our key level of support just before the week started. And it is also the midline of this massive channel of consolidation, right? This massive parallel channel. And so breaking below that midline tells us, okay, we've gone back to this stage over here where the price action is potentially consolidating between that midline resistance at $67,000 and the base of the channel at $60,000. We can also see that on the short time frame, Bitcoin has developed a downtrend. So that's this one over here. And so while we remain in that downtrend, it's pretty likely that we lose our current key level of support at $65,000 and continue lower to that next macro level at $60,000. So the altcoins as well have had a really rough gig. We've seen Total 3 drop a fair bit and a lot of altcoins really bleed over the weekend. So let's dive into the charts. Let's talk about the macro charts for Bitcoin first. Let's talk about what all of this price action means in terms of the macro charts and where altcoins are sitting at this stage in the cycle. Before we get into any more analysis, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, Bitunix. Bitunix is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. Moving into the analysis, guys, the first thing I'm going to start off with is the nitty gritty, and we're going to talk about Total 3 because out of everything, it is looking the most concerning right now and probably the most bearish. So taking a look at the charts here, the first thing I want to point out is the loss of our 150-day SMA right here, the smooth moving average. So I've just pulled up market side for A and changed the input for the last EMA to be 150, and then I've got it on a daily chart, so that's 150 days. And the reason why the loss of this is so important is, first of all, because it has confluence with the loss of a structural uptrend. So we have lost the uptrend that we've had since the 19th of October, right? The last 8.5 months of uptrend has been lost in the last couple of days alongside the 150-day moving average. So the price action that we're getting right now over the last 6 or 7 day period has been more bearish than it has been for a very long time, guys. And the reason why this is so important is because we have actually never seen this. We've never seen the loss of a 150-day SMA in any other bull market before for altcoins, right? If we go back to prior cycles, we'll just move back over here. We can see the same 150-day SMA, that red line. Bitcoin has the halving event. It broke above the 150 just a little bit before the halving, and we stay above it the entire time. The only times we really see some tests of the trend line, of that moving average trend line, is when Bitcoin tests this double day cap bounce resistance. Gone over that already, and the all-time high. We tend to see a little bit of, pullback because Bitcoin is likely rejecting, altcoins fall a little bit, but we've never broken below it. And we continue to rally and move further and further away from that trend line, continue gaining volume and volatility and momentum, all these things until the top. And then, yada. We know what happens at the top. But over here, oopsies, we have lost that for the first time. And so it really challenges some of the assumptions that we have about the upcoming bull market, right? Will we see the same kind of parabolic behavior that we've seen for altcoins? Will we even get an altcoin season? It really is up for debate, because realistically, what we're seeing right now is the effect of, it could be anything, but what I'm thinking is, potentially the institutionalization of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Very recently, Ethereum just got an ETF approved, and it starts in July. I think it starts being open for trading, and all that kind of stuff. So are altcoins just fading into the background, or are we seeing an interlude of sorts, right? Is it because Bitcoin is struggling so much and traveling so sideways for such an extended period of time that we're seeing a loss in market confidence, we're seeing a loss in interest, and that is causing these altcoins to bleed so hard at this stage in the cycle? I saw a really interesting post on Twitter. I don't know who these people are, by the way, but it was this post over here. So one person was saying, extend your time horizon. So if you have invested in altcoins, I think maybe we might just see, he's saying this is an interlude and we're going to recover. We're going to go back above the 150-day SMA when Bitcoin breaks through the all-time high and finally get that parabolic season. But we've got other people saying, this next reply from this person over here saying it's over for most alts. And it's really interesting. These are really the two main, perspectives that we have right now. Is what we're seeing a sign of the end of the altcoin season and the end of that historical cycle, or is this an interlude? Only time will be able to tell, and only Bitcoin will be able to determine what happens here realistically, because as of right now, Bitcoin dominance is still very high and altcoins are still really struggling to regain key levels of support and have those moves back upwards. Now, with all of that in mind, let's go ahead and move on to our Bitcoin analysis. So over the last couple of weeks, we've had some really bearish price action. And naturally, the question is that bearish price action enough to signal macro weakness? And if we're seeing macro weakness, is it enough to demand some serious considerations about the future price action of Bitcoin and potentially bearish trajectories, right? And if we take a look at two of the most popular bull market validation indicators, we've got Gaussian channel and Ichimoku. Things at face value, they're not looking very good, right? We can see over here this last rejection that we've had from $72,000 over here has taken us to fall back into the Gaussian channel. We've had a conversion line baseline flip on the Ichimoku over here, the red line and that blue line. And we've also fallen below the Ichimoku cloud, right? So on a technical perspective, purely technical perspective, things aren't looking good. We are potentially seeing some signs of exhaustion here, right? Bullish exhaustion naturally as we move sideways for so long. But when we see stuff like this, it's important to understand the context of what is happening, because Gaussian channel and Ichimoku are lagging indicators. So when we move from a period, let's pull up the Bollinger Bands. When we move from a period of high volatility, right, look at the expansion on the Bollinger Bands over there, to a period of very considerably low volatility in comparison, right? Comparatively low volatility, the lagging indicators are naturally going to say that things are looking terrible. Okay, so sure, we've moved from a period of extremely high volatility, things were looking really great, Bitcoin was, doing very well, as we can see over here. In comparison, this is not going to be as good. So naturally, these indicators that are an average of this entire period is going to be reflecting that. Okay, so when we're looking at this from a technical perspective, it's really difficult to say whether or not this exhaustion that we're seeing here is a result of consolidation in accumulation leading to a upwards breakout, or if we're seeing exhaustion and potentially early signs of distribution, which will lead to a continued bearish trajectory, right? And the only way we're going to be able to distinguish that is not through technicals, but through structural patterns. Okay, and a really good a really good example of this is all the way back in 2021. So in January 2021, this was a scenario over here where we saw some warning signs in terms of technicals. Let's put away the Bollinger Bands. We can see over here, we retested the Gaussian channel. We got very close to retesting the Ichimoku cloud. We had a conversion line baseline flip, and things weren't looking really good. Bitcoin had rallied really, really well and had been going down for quite an extended period of time over here. I don't know how long that is, maybe a month, maybe less. But a lot of people during this period of time in 2021 were calling the top on Bitcoin. This was the end of the rallying. But the distinction here between this scenario and this scenario where we actually topped is the structural patterns. So over here we can see we had a descending wedge entered into after an uptrend. That is bullish consolidation and accumulation leading to expansion. Over here, we have the same technical indicators. We have a retest of the Ichimoku cloud. We had a conversion line baseline flip over here. We fell back into the Gaussian channel. You know, it could have been this scenario, except for the fact that we had entered into it from a bearish structural pattern. We had an ascending wedge, right? A reversal signal. Now, if we apply that to what we're seeing here, are we seeing a reversal structural pattern? No. We're in a horizontal channel, right? So that is, for the most part, neutral, right? So the last couple of months of structural behavior has been neutral. So I'm trying to clean up my chart a little bit. But what we can also see is we have an overarching macro uptrend, our bull market uptrend over here that started in October, the same one that you can see on total 3, except altcoins have died and Bitcoin hasn't. So this is our main structural uptrend, our major, I guess, bull market uptrend. And as of right now, we haven't lost the uptrend. Okay, so structurally, we are looking bullish. But we can also argue, you know, back then in 2021, we were in an uptrend as well. So what's the distinguishing factor? Well, over here on the smaller time frame, we have a parallel channel. I'm going to draw this really roughly, guys. Don't judge me on this. Something like that, right? That's been entered into from the bottom. We've entered in from an uptrend. And so this should represent accumulation. This consolidation is an extended period of accumulation that should more likely lead to a breakout. We have structural confirmation. Sure, the TA is printing a little bit of weakness and potentially exhaustion. It's not looking great, but it's genuinely just because we've moved into this from such a period of high volatility to a period of compression. So naturally, these lagging indicators aren't going to be looking very, very good. So on the macro charts, guys, Bitcoin's still looking fine. There's not too much to worry about. On the short time frame, though, that might be a different story. We'll go over and talk about the short time frame in just a moment, but just staying on this chart here for a second, we see we do have a potential of falling below to retest that uptrend, and within that area is around $60,000, $57,000 to $60,000. So it's potentially likely that we go down to test our low over here at 57,000, bounce on our uptrend, and finally have that breakout that we're seeing. That's what we can see anyways looking at the high time frame charts. Now let's move over onto the short time frame and talk about the little segment of analysis that we have for right now, or this next couple of weeks. So as I've already said, guys, on the short time frame, we are in a downtrend, right? It's a very, very clear downtrend. We're printing lower highs, consistently lower highs on the short time frame, and lower lows, right? So very clearly we are losing buying pressure, losing buying strength, and the sellers have, or the bears have really taken control of the price action on the short time frame. We have our key level of resistance as well. So that's this one over here, $67,000. And we have our current key support over here, $65,000 or $64,000 to $65,000. Okay, but while we remain in the downtrend, trend is your friend until it ends. So it is quite likely until we break out of this downtrend that we continue to see a downward trajectory and continue fulfilling that pattern until we reach a strong enough base of support that suggests that we're going to finally see a reversal and, you know, have some sort of bullish correction back upwards, right? But let's go ahead and talk about the bearish case scenario as of right now. So we already know the macro context. We know that while we remain within this horizontal channel, we should continue to see consolidation and accumulation and hopefully have that breakout at some point as long as the macro charts continue to look the way they are, right? But we also know that our key trigger point in terms of a massive macro bearish correction, the loss of our bull market uptrend and everything, is going to be this level over here, down here, 56,600 or $57,000 for short, right? And it'll be the loss of the end of this liquidity level over here that will trigger a continued bearish move to much lower levels. I'm thinking potentially 53,000 and maybe even 48. That's really far away though, so you know, take from that what you will, but that is until we lose this level. So while we remain within the sideways channel, we should probably continue to consolidate sideways, and specifically after the loss of the midline over here and this key resistance level at 67, like I said at the start of the video, it is likely that we continue to consolidate in this lower range over here. So that means that again we should see $60,000, you know, and bounce within that level until we manage to break back above over here. So that brings me to the bullish case scenario. In order for us to confirm the end of this short time frame correction and move back up to retest the upper levels of this channel over here and potentially see a breakout, we're going to need to see a break first of this downtrend over here, right? We're on a 6-hour time frame, so a candle close above that on the 6-hour or 4-hour time frame. But more specifically, we're going to need a break back above this midline over here. We're not going to see any chances of testing these levels until we fully confirm 67 as an established base of support. We've seen it time and time again within this channel. This is really that key trigger point that takes us to these upper levels over here, right? We've seen it time and time again. So realistically, that is the level where we gain some true bullish confidence on the short time frame. But as of right now, trend is your friend until it ends. And until we break this, we are likely to continue going lower. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel down below. And if you're looking for even more content, be sure to check out the free Telegram channel for daily Bitcoin updates as well as crypto and economic news. If you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trade setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, sign up down below to Bitunix to get $5,500 in sign up rewards and 15% off all of your trading fees. Hope you guys have a really great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.